Hi everyone, my name is Kristen and welcome back to my UXUI journey. We're going to get into content from week 10. I'm wearing the same shirt as last week because I'm just going to keep filming 9, 10, 11, 12 because I'm behind, but let's get into week 10. So just like last time, I got my little cheat sheet sticky note. So week 10 consisted of interaction design, animation, what else do I have on here? Atomic design, understanding components and elements and how they're all interacting with one another, as well as developing buttons, a little bit more about UI components, and finally developing forms, which is kind of random, but it was tacked on for week 10, so I'm going to go into more detail about all of those things. Okay, so interaction design focuses on understanding how users and technology communicate with one another. So we have devices like iPhone, for example, or a computer, an iPad, Apple Watch, pretty much Apple products, any kind of device, any kind of type of technology. The Alexa, part of the job of a designer is to understand not just how that technology is going to be viewed and shown to users, but it's also important to understand how the user is going to interact and use that particular product or software device. So interaction design does just that by pushing designers to think about the interactions that our product is going to have with the user, the everyday user. So interaction design is really important. It's been a consistent topic that we've talked about over the last, I would say even couple weeks, not just week 10. So that's interaction design. So the next thing is atomic design, which is, it is what it sounds like. It's the idea that every different type of component that we make, every button, every type of element that we integrate within our UI is all made up from a particular atom or one particular element. So you have like atoms, and then you have like elements, and then you have it's a hierarchy of things that build on and on to one another up until you create this type of full page UI pattern, and then you have a full web page. So that's atomic design. And then we also have talked about, once again, just the composition of a web page. We talked about that usually when you pull up a web page, you have like the navigation bar, and then you have this large kind of block of content right below the navigation bar, which is the hero. You normally have like a search element, a login element. Sometimes you have hamburger menus, which is those like 3 little lines of content or 3 little line element so that you can pull up a menu, usually on mobile. And then there's we have a footer that goes, there's another element that goes into web design and mobile design UI as well. But there's just lots of different elements when it comes to the makeup of a web page. So it's been interesting kind of being able to see how a web page face is dissected. I hope I did that word right. Anyways, how a web page is dissected. And then the last 2 things we've talked about are button states and forms, which button states such as hover, pressed, stalling, like the way in which our mouse, like the way in which our web page shows us that a particular action is being taken and be shown by our button states. So traditionally on a web page, it's a little different from mobile because you can't indicate a user is hovering on mobile because you don't have a cursor, you just have your finger. But on a web page, let's say that I go to Facebook. Traditionally, Facebook will have like a blue login button, like a sign up or a login. Usually when I hover over that, the color traditionally changes, like that button traditionally changes color, or you'll see like a backdrop, a little shadow, a blur, something letting me know as the user that I'm interacting with that button. The last thing is forms, which is random that we were talking about forms, but our discussions primarily centered around identifying what's important for the user to fill out on a form versus what's not important. So traditionally you'll have the user fill out first, last name, an email address, and a password. Standard information. But many forms, you'll have pages and pages of forms that ask like their physical address and all of these like really minute details that aren't quite needed for them to register for a particular account. We've talked about the importance of or the fact that when your forms are super long and require a lot of minute information, the user is less likely to follow through in completing that form and signing up for your app or your product or using your product, period. So it's a balance between taking enough information to track the data that you need to, but not taking too much information that it makes it too much of a burden for the user. So it's a balance. And we've talked a lot about making not just forms, but making UI, making the process, any process that we present to users, making the process easy, straightforward, and delightful for the user. My professor loves to use that word, so we're going to use delightful. So that, I would say those are the different elements that we focus on in week 10. I'm trying to think what else. Update on me. I'm working on my government redesign personal project right now. I'm only in week 9. I'm slowly but surely getting through the 5 weeks of information, the 5 weeks of content that I have to go through. So right now I'm developing the navigation system as well as the drop-down menu that I'm going to include in my government redesign UI frames. I'm doing Cherokee County, it's Cherokee County in Texas. They have a government website that hasn't been updated since probably 2002, right around the time the internet came out. So I've had some really interesting ideas developing the UI part of their website. So I hope to be able to show that within the next 2-3 weeks when I finish that project. But I'm excited about that. But I think that is everything. I have Leia here with me, her ears. I think that's everything. So yes, I appreciate y'all watching this video once again, like always. And y'all can follow me on Instagram at UXUI Advocate. I should probably put it somewhere. I think I actually have it down in the description. I know. So yeah, I hope that y'all have a really good night, and I appreciate y'all watching.